Alright guys, welcome to the round 7 review for AFL Fantasy this week. So we scored 2183, which is a pretty poor score. Although saying that, a lot of my players did score pretty well. I think what really hurt us this week was, not owning players such as Tuke Miller, Lockie Neal, Paddy Cripps, Max Gawn, players with high ownership, all that scored really well. So yeah, it hurt us pretty badly not owning any of those boys. But yeah, as far as our team went, round 7 rank of 16k, overall rank of around 4k now. So we slid down about 1,000 spots, which isn't too great. But I think from now on, each week, we've just got to be playing, more attacking. No double downgrades. I think it's just going to be an upgrade downgrade every week. And I'll talk about my trades later on in the video. But yeah, like I said, not owning these players like Miller, Neal, Cripps, Gawn really hurts us. So we have to do something to get those boys in as fast as possible. But the trades we made for this week were Hayes and Oliver in, and Grundy and Xeri out. Grundy and Xeri are out for a couple of weeks. Grundy out for a longer period, so we had to trade both of those two. I could have held Xeri and traded Rochelle, who I had a feeling would drop in cash, although we ended up trading the two ruckmen. And then bringing in Sam Hayes, I identified him as a target this week. I really wanted him over Greg Clark, and I say that because one, I didn't know what Greg Clark would score like, and two, he had a really low break even, and he was coming off a 77, so I think he was sort of a must-have for us in terms of cash generation for the future. And then the second player was Clayton Oliver. Now we could have bought in Paddy Cripps, Tuke Miller. We could have bought in anyone, but I went Oliver because we needed someone to chuck the VC on, as we had no one on that Sunday. That wasn't playing that we could loop, apart from McInnes, who was a late out, but at the time I didn't know. So we brought in Hayes and Oliver. Looking back, I think the right move would have been to bring in Greg Clark and Max Gawn and VC Gawn, take his score, and then field Clark. Or even, at the time, because Greg Clark had already played, we could have potentially gone Gawn and Hayes and chucked Hayes on our bench and taken Gawn's score, and then that would have meant that we would have fielded Robbie McComb, and we would have got an extra 40 points plus the VC on Gawn, so I think it'd be 60, 70 odd extra points, which would have helped us a lot, but that's fine, we make mistakes. And yeah, Sam Hayes wasn't great this week. He came off a 77 last week, I think it was, so I sort of had more faith in him scoring better than Robbie McComb. That's the reasoning behind going Clayton Oliver versus Gawn, but it didn't pan out that way. McComb scored an 80, Hayes scored a 43. But those were the trades we made. I'll go into the team review now. As far as defense goes, pretty solid. Short, new role for him throughout the midfield. He's racking up possessions, and I think over the course of the next couple of weeks, we'll see his tackle numbers increase as well, as a result of him slotting into that midfield group. Same goes with Jack Crisp, a really good game for him, 130. So he started off pretty slow, and then he just worked his way into the game. And yeah, he's marking, he's tackling, and he's getting a lot of the footy, which is a really positive sign. Dawson, pretty average, 106. Like I said, I like him when he plays on a wing. I think he scores a bit better, but playing across halfback, taking kickouts, still looks like a good player. Potentially top 8 defender this season. So yeah, I do like Jordan Dawson. Lockie Whitfield, 99, started off on fire. I think he kicked 3 goals, and he still didn't manage to turn up. So I feel that Lockie Whitfield, alongside with Dawson, sort of have been lacking that ceiling that they showed in previous years. So it would be nice to have a big game from both those boys, but really consistent scores, which is what we need. James Sicily, 114, was also really good. Started off on fire, slowed down as the game went on, but still got to a really nice score. So that's that. And O'Driscoll, we obviously captained Hewitt. He was out with a calf injury, I think it was, and we took O'Driscoll's score of 63, which was average, but better than taking a 51 from DeConning. So that rounds off defense. Overall, pretty solid. I'm happy with how that panned out. I think our midfield sort of let us down this week. Not owning Cripps, Miller, Steele, all those boys. And then yeah, Bailey Smith, we brought him in 2 weeks ago, and he's gone and scored a 90 and a 100. So, been fairly average, nothing too special. And for what we paid at him, for what we paid for him, we want a bit more from him. So hopefully he plays. He plays Port this week, so hopefully he has a big game. But yeah, just not producing those numbers that we saw in the really early rounds. His tackle numbers have been low. His marks not really working too hard for those uncontested possessions, and he hasn't hit 30 disposals in the last 2 weeks. So bit of a concern, but let's hope he bounces back. Still really good 115. It was a tough game against Port Adelaide. Conditions were really rough, and he was one of two players that turned up. So credit to Jack Steele. He's been uber consistent for us this year. Hasn't dropped under 100. And McRae 94. He started on the bench, which was really interesting because he's one of the best midfielders. So I found that a bit intriguing. Wasn't sure why that was. But yeah, he worked hard throughout the game. I'm not too sure why he scored so poorly. Maybe his tackle numbers weren't high. He ended up with 5 marks and 4 tackles, so he had a fairly decent game. I think he just gave away a couple of free kicks and didn't get as much as the footy. He didn't reach his 30 disposals, so that's probably what affected his score. But apart from that, he played a pretty solid game. And hopefully him and Bailey Smith can have a big one in the next couple of weeks, because we really need these two boys to produce some big numbers if we are to climb up the rankings. Clayton Oliver was great. I'm not complaining with the 126. We definitely take that as captain. Would have been nice if we got Gawn instead, like I said, but we'll take Clayton Oliver. He's a season keeper. He's got good durability, good tackle numbers, good work rate, and he's a contested bull. So, great pick. I think he's top 8. He should be a top 8 the way he's playing. And I think he's a player that, presents a bit of consistency. So, just someone you can back in to score 90 plus, 100 plus each week. And yeah, he did have that off game where he scored a 60, I think it was, early in the season. But I don't think that happens again. I think from here on he should go 100 plus. You look at his games, the first game he gave away 7 free kicks. So you take away those free kicks, he would have gone well above 120. 3 free kicks against Essendon in this game here. So he's virtually gone above 120 nearly every game this season, apart from that one poor performance. So I do like Clayton Oliver. And yeah, I think he's a top 8 mid the way he's playing at the moment. Crouch, fairly average, 89. But yeah, low time and ground once again, so you can't expect much. Dacos was a bit underwhelming with a 59, but I think we take that. Matt Rowell, 88. Pretty average as well. Nothing too special. I think, like I said, Matt Rowell lacks a bit of an outside game, so if he can work on his outside game a bit more, I think he averages above 100, but at the moment, he's just more of a contested player, and he's scoring all right, so we take that. We can hold him for a couple of weeks. And Horn-Francis, 52, time to offload him. He's reached his break-even, and he's going to start dropping in price if he doesn't score well in the next couple of weeks. So we will be trading Horn-Francis this week, but I'll talk about that later on. And Robbie McComb was great with 83, so that's great. It's going to spark his cash generation a bit. Ward was managed, so I think he comes back this week, which is a good indication of hopefully a good score. And then the Rucks, Bruce, really good, 95, not much to be said there. Hayes, he doesn't look like he's ready to play AFL, if you want me to be entirely honest. But yeah, 43 is not great, so I think what we do this week is we have to get in Gawn, because there's no way I'm going to field Hayes again after that 43. He looked good when he scored that 77, but then I went into the stats and looked into more detail, and he got 47 off those 77 points from hitouts. So he only got 30 points from actual possessions, which is a bit underwhelming, because there's no way he's ever going to get above 40 hitouts again. That was a one-off thing. So Hayes, I think he goes 50 plus for the rest of the season, although I don't really see him going above 70 again, so I think we need to get Max Gawn into our team. Jack Williams didn't play, obviously. He's just there for a loophole. And then our forwards, fairly average. Actually, it was pretty solid. I guess Brody and Butters let us down, but pretty solid. Dunkley, uber consistent, hasn't dropped under 100 this season, like I said. Number 1 forward, so him and Steele have been great for me. Great starting picks. Cornelio, 105, good to see him turn up. Not too sure if he's top 6. I think he should be top 6, but he might not be, so we'll wait and see. But he's producing some good numbers, over the last couple of weeks. So hopefully he keeps that up. Zach Butters is a bit underwhelming. I'm not sure if he's still feeling a bit sick or groggy, or if it was just a rotation issue, but low time on ground for him, so explains why he scored 74. Given a bit more minutes, I think he would have dashed out a 90. But yeah, 74 is not a bad score. He was on 50 at halftime, so he slowed down a lot in that second half, but we'll take it. And then Brody, 64. I'm surprised he even got to this score. He was looking really bad throughout the game. Once again, really low time on ground, which is not a good sign. And yeah, he jumped up in that fourth quarter just to get to 64. So at least he worked hard and, tried to get to a good score in that last quarter. But yeah, I need to see a bit more for him to be a top 6. And then Naish, Martin were both pretty solid. Naish, I feel a bit nervous about his job security. Although he scored a 94, he played terrible. He turned the ball over on multiple occasions and was probably one of the worst players for the Eagles on that rough day. So, not great. Nick Martin, one of the best for the Essendon Bombers. One to definitely consider in the future, I think. He plays that wing role, and he plays it really well. So I do love Nick Martin. I do like watching him play. He's also really good in the contest. So maybe a future on baller, but we'll wait and see for future years where he does line up. And Michelle and Windhager scored the same. And yeah, it's not great for cash generation. Michelle dropped in price. Windhager went up, but it's not great when a rookie scores a 40. So that's that. McInnes was a late out, which is unfortunate, but at least he didn't play and score like a 5. So that rounds off our round 7. As far as our trades go for this week, I think we're going to bring in Greg Clark. He's a must-have. So we go Horn Francis to Clark and Rochelle to Gawn. It's really nice because we get Sam Hayes off our field. Hopefully we can move up in ranking this week. I don't know if we will when we still own Matt Crouch and Rel. We need to get Miller, Cripps, and Neil all into our team ASAP. But yeah, this is how our team's looking like at the moment. It's looking a lot better with Hayes on the bench now, and with Max Gawn, someone with his ceiling, I think provides a lot of upside to our team. Not ideal paying 950k for him, but I think we need to play aggressive, and it's something we need to do in order to move up a bit. So we bring Greg Clark this week. He had a great debut. We can field him. I'm confident that he scores 70 plus for most weeks. Mature age player, so should be fine playing throughout the midfield, and his job security seems pretty good at the moment. So I do like Greg Clark. I think he should have a good game. And yeah, that's how our team's looking like at the moment. The other guy I liked was the Carlton player Jack Carroll. I really want to get him in as well. Low time on ground and scored an 89. But I think we wait one more week and we hop on Carroll next week. That'll probably be the plan, because I feel like we need Jack Carroll in our midfield. For someone that scored so well with such low time on ground, and yeah, he looked really good. So I think we need Jack Carroll into our team at the moment, and we'll probably bring him in next week and make an upgrade, and bring in someone like Miller, Neil, or Cripps next week, and that'll be one more step closer to a final team. So at the moment, I'm pretty nervous because I think our team still drops in ranking this week. It's still not up to par, but I think in the next couple of weeks and going into the bye, we should get in a good couple of players to help us move up that ranking. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, and comment down any questions that you guys have below, and I'll see you guys next week.